So, babe, where are we going?
Hospital.
We think we're in labor. Hopefully it's real.
You're too cute to be going into labor.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's going to be coming out today. Woo!
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You are watching Toops Time. I'm Cody.
And I'm Jessie.
And today we're going to be telling you about Asher's birth story.
Yay!
If you don't know, if you haven't watched any of our other videos, Asher is our firstborn son.
Yes.
A cute little redheaded kid. And
we do have another one on the way, but we weren't doing YouTube at the time that Asher was born. And thankfully, though, we were able to get some footage on June 27th, 2019, the day he was born. And we thought we would just share it with you and give you an idea of what that day was like. It was one of the best days of our lives. Alright, so let's dig right into it. Yeah, so it was actually a day past Asher's due date. His due date was June 26th. So I was big and 40 weeks pregnant, and I'll never forget waking up and just like constantly every night, most pregnant women do, they pee. Well, I did the exact same thing all night, and then that morning when I woke up, I went to pee and something was different. There was blood. And I immediately thought, oh gosh, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm in labor. And so Cody was not home, and I called him. He was at the gym and he didn't answer, so I ended up having to get in touch with his friend, his workout partner.
So my buddy Seth, he actually answers his phone, and he's got like a kind of strange face, like, why is Jessie calling me? And he comes up to me, he's like, dude, you might want to call your wife. So I called Jessie back, and she's like lightly freaking out.
I was like, please get home, because it was early. This was like 6:30 in the morning, and the hospital, I called the hospital, and they didn't act like they knew for sure I was in labor. They told me to wait until my contractions were about 5 minutes apart. I also called my doctor's office because it was a weekday, it was a Thursday, and I called my doctor's office, and of course they're not open until 8:30, so I left a voicemail for them. So we were kind of just in a waiting thing, so I was like, please come home. I'm not sure what's going on, but today may be the day.
So yeah, after all that, I get home, and I check on Jessie, and she's kind of calmed down a little bit. Yeah. She's acting like, I'm just going to wait for the doctor to call back. And so she was like, you might just want to go outside and do stuff. So I was like, okay. So I go outside, start working on just chores here at the venue, cutting grass, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, because if you follow our channel, we are self-employed. We own a wedding venue. And like any other entrepreneur, self-employed, your job doesn't stop. You don't just take vacation, take a sick day. Yeah, so that morning was just like any other morning, and I had actually gotten a phone call, and I wasn't having any contractions at first, so I wasn't very concerned. Well, I got a phone call from a potential client at around 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'll never forget this lady, because she's like begging me to show her our venue, to give her a tour. And I'm on the phone explaining to her that I'm pretty sure I'm in labor and that we will be leaving soon to go to the hospital. Well, needless to say, they were from out of town, and so they were only going to be in town for a couple days. And so her attitude on the phone is something like, oh, you're in labor? Okay, so when did you say we can come? You know that?
Yeah, so
I was like,
it ended up where this lady actually ended up booking with us, but she was in touch with us the entire time we were in the hospital. Yeah. But we did get a booking out of it, but Cody did have to show the venue as soon as we got home from bringing Asher home from the hospital. But we did leave that morning because around, I guess it was around 10 or 10:30, I had my contractions. They started, and they immediately started like 8 to 10 minutes apart.
So to make things clear, we live about an hour and a half from our hospital.
Yes.
So that's kind of where this is going and why we left.
Yeah, because most of the time the hospitals will tell you, 5 minutes apart and under, come on in.
Yeah, I've seen other birth stories, and they're like, Yeah, well, I'm talking to my doctor, but we're only like 3 minutes up the road, and I'm like, yeah, we're not even close to that.
Yeah, so we decided to go ahead and leave. We hadn't heard back from my doctor's office yet, but we were like, you know what, we'll just drive out there. Worst comes to worst, we just made the trip for nothing. We could go walk around some shops, get some food, things like that, and wait around. So we do that. We go right through our hometown, and Cody's smart enough to be like, hey, I'm gonna pick up some food because I'm hungry and I'm frantic, and the last thing I care about is filling my belly at the moment because I'm like watching the clock and monitoring all these contractions. And so he gets food, hamburger, whatever. I think he had some chicken tenders.
I'm pretty sure we got some apple pies.
Yeah, there was apple pies, yes.
And Jessie ate one of those.
I don't know, but I just remember.
She did.
I don't know.
Probably 2.
No. I did not. Okay, so Cody got a bite to eat, and we were on the road, and we finally got a phone call from our nurse. We were about 45 minutes away from the hospital at this point.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call from my nurse at my doctor's office, and she said, by the sounds of it, you are definitely in labor, to come on in. My contractions at this point were closer to like 6 minutes apart, so we were happy that we were headed on into the hospital. Yeah, so we ended up getting to the hospital right around 1 o'clock, and as soon as you get into the hospital and you go to labor and delivery, they bring you to a place called triage. At least that's what they do here, and that's where they like hook you up to a bunch of stuff and measure your contractions and actually make sure that you're in labor, and if you are, then they'll admit you into labor and delivery. Well, they hooked me up to all this stuff, and like I said, I didn't get hardly anything to eat, and then they tell me, you can't eat. Like, you're telling me I can't eat. I did not know that was going to happen. So if you are pregnant, you're in your 3rd trimester, remember to eat before you get to the hospital. Because that was awful. And we have some footage of me sneaking some gummies because I was so hungry.
The doctor says that she can't eat anything. But she's pregnant. She's starving. We're going to sneak in some fruit. Jessie, are you hungry? I'm going to give you some fruit.
Get it to me.
Jessie, what are you doing? You're not supposed to eat.
Stop it.
Put that food away. She's breaking the rules. Holy crap, look at all these things she's eating.
They hooked me up to this thing, and they said, oh, your contractions. It was showing a lot of activity. I was like 5 minutes apart on all my contractions. And then they have to come in and do vaginal checks. And I am the worst in the world at vaginal checks. And I know my doctor would even vouch for me on that one. I act like it is the worst thing in the world because I honestly believe it is.
The doctor actually told the nurse to take it easy on her.
Yeah, to be gentle.
Or
with
be
me.
gentle, that's what it was. Make sure you be gentle with her. Yeah.
But anyway, she was not gentle. The nurse came in to check me for my first time, and it was a very unpleasant experience, so unpleasant that I think I terrified her. She didn't want to check me again. She said I was not dilated whatsoever, and then they just monitored me because I think she did not want to come back in and check me.
Yeah, she was thinking like, if me touching you there hurts, you're in for a rude awakening when a baby comes out. It's like not anywhere close to the same for her, so.
But yeah, so they left me on this machine, I guess, for like an hour and a half before they did any other check or anything, and the contractions were constant, like 4 minutes. I mean, like
being in there that long, we were so worried they were just gonna like send us home.
Yeah, because they were kind of acting like that every time they'd stop by. And so the lady came in again to check me, and she said basically, we're going to check you, and if you really haven't progressed, we're going to send you home. But she brought a helper nurse, like a nurse that would stand by my head and comfort me while this check was going on. And it worked. They at least got me checked in. They said I was at least a 2, that I was probably close to a 3 centimeter, and that they were going to check me in for labor and delivery.
We're so excited.
Yes, that meant we were not going home.
They bring us into that room, and it's like, there are actually some really nice rooms at that hospital. At least I thought. We've never had babies before, never been in those rooms, but There's some big, nice rooms, and they admitted us in there.
So you're gonna
We're in here right now. She's just answering the standard questions. And then Belinda, Jonathan, and Jared are back here. Kind of goes in past there too. Kind of where that shadow is up top is where the door is. And then that's the bathroom. Pretty cool.
It took them about 30 minutes to get us from triage into the labor and delivery room where we would end up having our son. And I just remember sitting there. They had me in a chair. They didn't even have me on the bed yet because they acted like it was going to be a really long time. And they're just asking me these questions. I remember one of the questions was, is your baby going to be formula fed or breastfed? All these different things that they have to put into their computer system. And I asked them, I said, would it be okay if I went into the bathroom and I need his help because I had sewed a gown that I was going to wear during labor and delivery. I'd sewed it and I wanted to put it on at this point. And so they said, yeah, well, I get him in there. And I'm like, Cody, look, I feel like I'm about to poop. They are not taking me seriously. Like, I think I'm about to have the baby like in the next 20 minutes. And so he, you know, my advocate, he goes back into the room after we get my gown on and he says, she really needs to be checked again, we think. And
yeah, they just looked at me like, what are you talking about? And anyway, I was pretty adamant though, and they did.
And I don't even remember that check being painful because it was like, I really need this now.
Yeah.
And I was a 7.
Yeah, so within like 30 minutes, we went from a 2-centimeter reading to a 7.
Yeah, so they were finally taking me seriously.
Yeah, it is on. It's about to happen.
They said, call the doctor. We need her water broke now.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, it's really happening.
Like, I think both of our hearts like raced a little bit when they were saying that because it was like, we wanted it to happen because we were there at the same time. Now it's like, oh my God, this is real. She's about to have this baby.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And so like, I really had in my head that I was going to try and do this all natural. My best friend, she's had both her babies all natural. No epidural is what I mean. So I was like, at this point I really thought I was going to do it. And my doctor comes in, she breaks my water. And when she broke my water, I was at an 8. And I asked her, I said, Dr. Lawrence, should I get an epidural? And she said, I don't know, girl, because I would have already had one at 3 centimeters. So you're at 8. So that didn't really help me.
She was taking like centimeters 0 through 8 like a champ. Like she was in pain, but I mean, she honestly took it like a champ. We were so shocked.
Yeah.
I was really at that point. I was thinking, she's actually going to do it without an epidural. Like, she's doing so good. The doctor even was like, you're doing so good, basically. You know?
But after she broke my water, my contractions started, they were like 30 seconds apart. Yeah. And that's when it was really hard because Cody and my mom and my dad, and I have a little brother that was, I guess, I don't know how old he was at the time, probably 13. 13. Yeah, he was 13 at the time, and they were all in the room prior to me delivering, and I'll just never forget when they all decided to say a prayer. And I did not hear one word of this prayer. No disrespect to God. I know that God heard the prayer, but I was so focused on those contractions and just not screaming bloody murder and scaring my little brother that once this prayer was over, I looked at Cody and I said, babe, will you be mad at me if I get an epidural?
I looked at her like, why are you asking me that? Like, this is your pain. If you want the epidural, get the epidural. Her not having the epidural, that choice that she thought she was going to make was never my thing. I could care less, whatever she wanted to do.
And what really helped me make the decision was this nurse that was in there. She's so sweet. She said, honey, you're going to get the same reward after this delivery with or without an epidural. And I was like, she's so right.
She was like, you don't need to be trying to win any trophies.
But the problem
you're not going to get a trophy for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The same trophy. I was going to still get the baby.
Yeah, you got the baby, but you're not going to get like an extra trophy and a picture on the wall if you do it without an epidural. Like,
so I did. Matter. I decided, I said, yeah, I want the epidural. And they're like, well, it might be too late.
That was the other funny thing. She like settled her mind on, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get the epidural. This is great. And then they're like, But
yeah, let's check with the anesthesiologist because your contractions are 20 seconds apart, and you're 9, and so the anesthesiologist came there. He even had a trainee at the time, and I'll never forget. He gets ready to do it. He gets back behind me, and I'm leaning over the table, and the nurse looks at him and says, "They're really close together, less than 20 seconds apart. Are you sure you can do this?" And he said, "Yeah, hold on."
And he actually, I don't even know if you remember this, but the trainee was getting kind of close and was asking him some questions, and he said, "I'm gonna need you to stand over there right now." He needed to focus on this because they basically said, "I know you're in a lot of pain, but do not move a muscle. This is extremely dangerous,
Yeah, so he did it, and it was the best thing.
That dude should have won a trophy. He was the man.
The best part about my epidural was I could still move my legs the entire time.
9 centimeters, waiting for the doctor to give us the go to start pushing.
Beautiful girl.
See that smile? That smile right there?
That smile is because
Hadn't
of
been
an
off their
epidural.
face since she went in labor.
Epidural.
I can still move.
Belinda has been smiling since you called her.
She went all the way to 8 centimeters before she got an epidural. Had no idea she was at 8 centimeters. Thought she was at 3. And then they said, "Yeah, well, that's why you're in pain." So she went on ahead and got an epidural, and she's loving it. These contractions, she's feeling them, but they're not very difficult. So one thing with this footage you're gonna see, Jessie, that epidural didn't just numb her. She was.
Yeah, it made me it made me
she was
tired.
A little loopy.
Yeah.
She kind of seemed drugged, and she was obviously. That's the epidural is a drug, but it made her kind of act a little weird. I didn't think it would do something like that, but. Want to tell your son hello?
We're gonna meet you very soon.
Seemed out of it, so some of the stuff she says it's just kind of funny. She's just like
So after they gave me the epidural, they let me rest for about 30 minutes, and then they decided it was time to start doing some practice pushing.
Kind of come back a little bit, relax there. You go, give that baby lots of room.
6, 7, there you go. 8, 9, 10, look out. Good deep breath in. Push.
Push again. Bear down. Hold your breath. Hold your breath in and push down. Bear down in your bottom. Push, 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 push. Hold your air in. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it.
6,
Harder,
7,
harder, harder,
good,
harder.
right there.
More. You can do it. You can do it. Yes, you can. Good job.
Awesome.
I only did that for maybe 10 minutes because it wasn't very long, and then all of a sudden they had me going over onto my side, and you can see it there, going over onto my side, and everybody kind of was acting weird. I could hear the monitors. They increased the volume on the monitors, so I knew that something would be wrong. They also gave me oxygen. And then a few minutes after I was on my side, I heard one of the nurses say that the baby's heart rate had dropped to 50.
So baby's heart rate's down and it's not really coming back up, so we're going to call her to come and look at it.
Big deep breath.
It's okay. It's going to be okay. The baby's fine. We're just going to not push so that we don't...
I'm at her bedside at 60. Heart rate's down to the 50s. We got her 2 on kids off. So, alright. Turn back towards Miss Sarah then. Okay. Waking that baby up. Good job, Mama.
You can see in the footage how emotional that was. That was a very scary moment for me. I think my mom and Cody realized before that something was going on.
But yeah, we knew what was going on a little bit before she did, and whenever she did finally find out, her heart dropped.
Dr. Weiss comes in, she's probably going to want to push with you and see how good you move the baby. Right now, it looks great. So he probably just got like really excited, basically, whenever you were pushing. He was like, oh, mom, what was that?
Excited or protesting?
He's been very comfortable.
He's in there like saying, you're
Judging by the
evicting me?
past
How dare
couple
you?
So,
How dare you evict me?
Do I
I'm so
need to
happy
move
here.
like that?
Oh, we'll turn this. Thank you. How dare you evict me when I am doing so well on my own here, lady?
Girl, Deborah?
yes, we're just giving him a moment to kind of recover, okay?
Whatever.
He sounds good.
He's deteriorated,
hard
we're just
to
giving
say.
him a moment to
All right.
kind of recover.
Over it
Like it always sounds.
a long time ago.
Shaking.
That's just kind of
That's okay.
hormones kind of excited, you know?
I am
You're
excited.
kind of excited and probably nervous and all those kind of like
I'm grateful for my
bundle,
Epidural.
one, you know, and so then that's wow. Yeah. Okay. Good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we needed it.
Yeah, no. We're gonna do kind of like we were a minute ago and see if we can push.
You should be able to push, we just gotta get you figured out. So the muscles to use are the same ones that you poop with. Until you bring you to poop. So you're gonna pull your legs back, which opens your pelvis up, and you're gonna strain like you have to poop. Okay? Down like a bowel movement. 2, 3. Try to hold it all the way to a count of time. 10. Take a breath. Do one more. Ready, steady, good breath. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, take a breath.
Once they actually had me start to push to deliver with the doctor there, I actually got this terrible Charlie horse in one of my legs, and this nurse that was there the entire time was a godsend because she literally massaged this Charlie horse the whole time I was pushing, because it was actually making it to where I could not even concentrate on pushing. My leg was bothering me so bad, and that just goes to show you that the epidural, even though it took away a lot of the contraction pain, I was still feeling a lot of the labor and delivery process.
She should have won a trophy too.
Yes, that nurse was amazing. Like, literally, to me, she was an angel that was in the room the whole time. She sat there, and you can see her on the footage that I show. She sat there and she encouraged me through the whole thing when the
You'll
baby's
see her
heart rate
talking in
dropped.
her ear and all
Yeah.
sorts of things. She was amazing.
And it was actually her
Okay.
birthday, and so her and Asher share a birthday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just finding this out.
Does it feel better? Would you tell me that? Okay, all right then.
How she was first doing it? And just
Yeah.
all up.
Yeah. Are you gonna say, oh my gosh, you're doing it, Jessica, oh my gosh, you're doing it, oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. You get this baby out, I will sing happy birthday, come on. We'll sing to you. More. Good job, Sean. Okay, get your quick breath, come right back, let's do it again. Harder.
Charlie horses were bad for her, and
Yeah.
the other thing that was bad,
Yeah, like,
not long before Asher was actually born, was the ring of fire. Which
Yeah.
is whenever his head was right at the opening.
Yeah.
Basically, his crown was showing. Just a little bit of his pretty red hair was sticking out of her, and
yeah. Yeah,
she-
so I felt this extreme, like, burning sensation down there, and they were like, the nurses were like, it's only gonna last until you get him out, and then it's gonna be gone. And they, I'll never forget how excited they were. My mom and my mom and Cody were the ones that were in the room, and they just kept yelling about the baby having this red hair, and I was like, yeah, because it's a ring of fire.
She was in a lot of pain, so I was we were wondering if the kid would have red hair, and she was like, there's no way genetically, yada, 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 all during the pregnancy. So when she was in all that pain and I saw the baby had some red hair coming out, I was like, I'm gonna tell her this, and she's gonna just maybe distract her a little bit from the pain and make her happy. So.
And my mom was so excited because all of her children, me and my siblings, we were all born bald.
Push, 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 push. More. You can do it. Yes, you're doing it. Good job. Hold that breath. Good job. Oh, that's so good. It burns so bad. I know. That's cold too. Okay. That is called the ring of fire.
Right there.
That is called the ring of fire. He's just stretching it. There is hair that has been delivered.
That's right.
Sarah's got a birthday.
Yeah, baby, you got to take some breaths for me.
Yeah, so I pushed for maybe a total of 30 minutes once the doctor was in there, and that ring of fire burn, and then he finally came out, and it was like the biggest relief of all time.
Let those legs go back. Push harder, push. Come on. You just got that. Good job. Would you like your legs to go back for me? See if there's no way to sloppy legs.
Coming out.
Relax your legs. You gotta do that baby. Lots of breath. You let your legs go out.
It's okay. It's gonna stop. It's okay, baby. It's okay,
She's got
baby.
some strong legs.
Just look much.
It's okay.
They immediately did skin to skin, which I didn't have like a big birth plan or anything. I hadn't told them I wanted to do this. And they put the baby on my chest.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, he's crying.
There we go. That leg is starting. It's all better.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Yes, I did.
And you cut the cord while he was laying there on my chest. Y'all can see all that.
Let you cut between the two. Yep. It's done. That baby's
So after we got to enjoy Asher a little bit with the skin to skin, they took him from us and cleaned him up, and Asher had zero issues. It was a really good experience, and this is already 2 years later. It's
Asher's
pretty
now
surreal.
2 years old, and
now we have another one on the way, and we're going to get to go experience all again in November.
yeah.
So.
Asher has just been so wonderful and such a blessing to our family. Asher's name actually means happy and blessed, and for us he has brought nothing but happiness and been nothing but a blessing since he's been in our lives.
He sure has set the bar high for poor Callum. We joke around about it. Obviously it's a joke, but we're like, man, Asher sure is setting the bar high. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully Callum can live up to Asher's standards.
He will.
Well, there it is. That's Asher's birth story.
That's right.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share and hit that notification bell.
Stay tuned for more future videos. We'll have another birth story come November probably.
God bless you
God
guys.
bless.